A local and national wrestling legend passes away. 55-year-old Jeff Blatnick died today at Ellis Hospital from cardiopulmonary arrest. But as you probably know, he lived a very eventful life. In 1982, Blatnick was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. He beat that and then went on to win the 1984 gold medal in the Olympics for Greco-Roman wrestling. He spent much of his life volunteering and giving back to the local community by teaching student athletes at both Niskayuna and Burnt Hills Ballston Lake. He left behind a huge legacy, and tonight Brandon Lewis spoke with those who knew his work best and explains just how he will continue to live on.
6 years ago, he came to me and asked if he could volunteer coach with the wrestling team. Now, what do you say to an Olympic champion? I said, welcome aboard and let me get the door for you.
Bob McGuire and the athletes at Burnt Hill Ballston Lake High School knew Jeff Blatnick as a teacher and a mentor with an Olympic past.
Life lessons that Jeff Blatnick taught a lot of different individuals. That's what's going to be truly missed.
Blatnick beat Hodgkin's lymphoma to compete in the 1984 Olympics, where he took home the gold for Greco-Roman wrestling.
Jeff Blatnick of the United States!
He's a great athlete, tough, somebody who had his mind made up what he was going to do, the hardest working heavyweight that I ever saw. Phenomenal guy.
After returning to the capital region, Blatnick started volunteering in the community and mentoring youth. But sadly, his health problems began to return.
I was with Jeff Monday night watching his daughter play volleyball. And yeah, he was going in for some tests, and he had a stress test, and they found some, something that wasn't, and they were going to go in and alleviate it. And unfortunately, it didn't work out.
While Blatnick passed away at the age of 55, he left behind more than just his name at a Niskayuna park.
Total shock. That was probably the hardest thing.
He leaves behind a legacy to motivate children, adults, and maybe even a future Olympian.
You want your children to have a great role model, and Jeff was that person. He was extremely knowledgeable, just a kind person. He had a spirit behind him that he's like a magnet. He'd draw kids.
Brandon Lewis, CBS 6 News, Niskayuna.
Jeff went to Niskayuna High School. He was so much more, though, than a gold medalist and a special athlete. He was also a very special human being. He knew, after beating cancer, that every day of life was a gift, and he constantly shared that gift with others. I knew Jeff and spent some time with him in the years immediately following his Olympic win. He wanted to be just Jeff, but there was no way that was going to happen. He was a larger-than-life figure and an inspiration to everyone he met, an inspiration to everyone who knew his story of survival. And he spent much of the past 3 decades dedicating himself to motivating other people to get all they can out of life. I can still see and hear him telling the world through tears right after winning the gold, "I'm a happy dude." No one will forget that quote, and I'm sure he still is. And we should all be happy for having him as a part of our lives and as a part of our community. Now, here's what the Niskayuna School District is saying about Blatnick tonight. Quote, "It was not just his achievements in wrestling that made Jeff a role model for the students who followed in his footsteps in the halls of Niskayuna schools and in the athletic arena. Students and teachers alike have been inspired by his courage, his perseverance in overcoming challenges, and his generosity with his time."